It was the death that sparked a movement, perhaps, forced tough conversations, and as his daughter said, might have even changed the world. Last summer, the name George Floyd is one that we all learned, a viral video, one that's ingrained in many of our minds, watching Floyd plead for his life as he said those words, "I can't breathe." 10 months later, the officer who was seen kneeling on Floyd's neck heads to trial this morning. Let's get to Cleo Green in our newsroom with what we can expect. Cleo?
Yeah, Mark, like you said, George Floyd's death sparked one of the largest movements for social justice in U.S. history. We saw marches and rallies across the country and right here at home. Now, 10 months later, that former Minneapolis police officer, Derek Chauvin, will stand trial this morning. The other former officer seen at the scene in that video that we've all seen at this point will also see their day in court. And like I mentioned earlier, I used to live and work in the Twin Cities for quite some time, and my friends that are still there tell me that the city is really on edge right now, waiting to hear those opening arguments, and so are we. At this point, we know that the National Guard is right outside of the Hennepin County Courthouse where this trial will take place. Rallies have been taking place over the weekend ahead of this big day. Chauvin is facing manslaughter, second and third degree murder charges. He's pleaded not guilty to all of them. Now, of the 15 jury members, 2 are alternates and 1 is an extra alternate. The ethnic makeup: 4 jurors are black, 2 are multiracial, and 9 are white. Now, once this trial begins, 1 member of Floyd's family will be in court each day, and that's because of the pandemic. The family's attorney telling a national news outlet that he's actually been preparing his clients for a very difficult experience in court.
They're going to see that video over and over again. They're also going to hear them assassinate the character of George Floyd.
All right, now Chauvin's lawyer, we're learning this morning, wants to introduce or moves to introduce evidence of prior bad acts of George Floyd should the state exceed the permissible scope of spark of life testimony. And spark of life really means building character. Remember, George Floyd's family said he was a gentle giant. We're also going to see the spark of life witnesses, which would be a sibling of George Floyd and an acquaintance from Minnesota. We're also hearing from prosecutors that they plan to show photos of George Floyd throughout his life here. I also want to add here, because this case has such national attention, for the first time ever, the state of Minnesota will allow cameras in the courtroom for this trial to be televised, and we will be airing it on all of our social media platforms and our digital channel 8.2. There's a special report at 9 o'clock this morning, Mark.
Like you said, Cleo, the pandemic is affecting the way this courtroom will look in this trial. It's going to limit who can attend in person, and I'm going to break that down in the next half hour for you. Also, starting today, as Cleo told us, WFA will be bringing you the latest on air and online as this trial unfolds. You can watch it in its entirety on channel 8.2 and on our website, WFAA.com.